Hello, how you all doing? Welcome to this Motion 5 tutorial. So you just saw my intro and you saw the nice camera angles, all in the same scene but different cameras. A few people have messaged me, asked me how I sort of get that effect. So I'm going to show you how to create that few camera, 3-4 camera sort of views and the transitions between those cameras. So we're going to go new motion project, 30 frames per second, and we will just use 10 seconds. We can use 3 cameras, 3 seconds each, and we'll use a second for error or for the start or for the end, whatever. And then click open. Once we're over here in motion, the first thing that I'm going to do, drop the 100% preview pane and click fit to window, so it just fits to the window nicely so we can see what we're working with. There's a little text button down here. Select 3D text. And then just type test. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this test text, but I'm going to use 2 words. So I want the text to be the same. So let's just edit this version of the text firstly. So let's go to our attributes, 3D styles. Let's use this glossy green. It's a nice colour, and and it looks okay as well. Let's just drag the size up a little bit. We can carry on with that size. Just drag it up nice and big, and then let's go in our inspector text. So I'm in format at the moment. Just chose the glossy green from our 3D styles, and then I just drag the size up a little bit. So then I'm going to go to appearance. Now this is where we can change our 3D properties. I'm going to drag the depth. Just drag the depth up to around 88, and then I'm going to change the front edge to a groove, just so it looks nice when we're editing it, and just drag the weight of the groove up a little bit to 0.56, and then I'm going to right click and duplicate this text, and I am indeed going to call this one, double click and call it text. I go to my format, drag the size down a little bit, a little bit more, so it's just a little bit smaller than the test. That's my text, and just drag it below. Just basically so it fits into view. Okay, now I'm going to drag this group, select the group, and drag this up into the center, like so. Double click this group and just call it text. Just good practice to get into that. So we've got our text. I'm going to go to project, click this, create a camera right here. It'll ask me if I want to switch to 3D or keep as 2D. I'm indeed going to switch to 3D. Now you notice in my timeline right here, it gives me a camera for the duration of my timeline. I'm not going to want this camera for all of the timeline, so I'll show you how to create in points and out points for a certain camera. We're also going to need to keyframe this camera, and I am going to show you a couple of ways as well. So there are a few ways that we can do it, so I'm going to show you a couple of ways. So first and foremost, I'm going to click this little heads-up display button right here, or press F7 on your keyboard. And now I'm not going to talk too much about the tools or the tools within the heads-up display. I'm just going to concentrate on the buttons that moves the camera. Right. So I'm going to find myself a nice start point for a nice camera view, and this is quite a nice sort of look. These tools, the various things, and just mess about them and you'll see exactly what they do. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by suggesting that you can't mess about with each of these tools in order to discover what they do. So if we start from here, like maybe here in this location, and then we're going to want to go from the bottom right up to the top left of the text up here. Sorry, I just clicked something else in my layers pane. Bottom right up to the top left of the text. So what we want to do is, remember we says we're going to use 3 seconds for each camera. So we can drag this timeline up like so to 3 seconds. And it's simple to do. People make out like it's really hard and that you have to double click this and type in 3 seconds. You don't. You can just drag your timeline up to 3 seconds and release it there. Now that's going to be the out point from our camera. So if we press O on our keyboard, this is the finish point for our camera. And then drag our timeline back to the start and click this little record button right here. That's recorded our start position for this camera right here. So now we go to the end, 3 seconds. And what we do is we move the camera to where we want it to end. We want it to be along here like so. Move out a little bit. And just move this heads up display over. Then I can carry on dragging this, you see. Let's go up the way. This is going to be our end point. So if I now uncheck this record button, drag my timeline back to the start and click play, our start timeline will be there. Our start keyframe and our end keyframe will be here like so. So now we want to switch to another camera. So I'm going to show you a different way of doing it this time, a different way of keyframing it. I'm going to close this heads up display. I'm going to go to my 3 seconds in my timeline, like so. And then I'm going to click a new camera. Click this little button here, give you a new camera. You notice it gives you the camera for the whole of the timeline again. So our playhead is at our 3 second mark. I'm going to press I on our keyboard to create an in point for our camera. We're going to go to the 6 second mark. So 6 seconds like so, and press O on our keyboard to create an out point for our camera. I'm going to go back to the 3 seconds like so, back to 3 seconds. I'm going to go up here, make sure I've got my camera 1 highlighted in my layers. Go to properties, click this little position button so it opens up the position, and then click this little plus button here to create the start keyframe for our, I know it says camera 1, but it is indeed our second camera. So the first one's camera, the second one's camera 1, the third one is camera 2. A little bit confusing, but it's not that bad. So now we want this start point. So where's our start point going to be? And we can simply choose, so we can choose the rotation, and we can rotate sort of our text again like so. Rotate around our text like any way we want, but we just want to start. We want to find our start position of our text this time. So we could sort of have here. We could come backwards over the text and sort of come up the way a little bit, I suppose. So let's have our start point right here like so. Let's go to our out point, which is at 6 seconds. Let's move it back, move it back, move it back, and up the way slightly, back a little bit more. So that's our out point. And if we now play through that, we switch from one to the other. And that's quite a nice view also. So now we could go back to our 6 seconds in our timeline, and we can indeed create a new camera. So this is camera 2. Press I on our keyboard to create an in point. Go to 9 seconds in our timeline. And now we could create an out point if we wanted to. So just by pressing O on our keyboard, but we want this to be our final camera also. So we'll just leave it run to the end of the the playhead or of the timeline. So now let's go to our heads up display, do it back this way again, and let's find another sort of camera angle that we want this to go with. This is quite nice because you can sort of come around here like so. Suppose it would be quite nice here. But we want something around here like this. Okay, so we click the little record button once we're happy with our start position, and then our final position like so. Drag it up to 9 seconds. I'm going to go for something like this, so it displays, just gives you a nice like so. Deselect the record. We'll notice we then got 3 nice sort of transitions. We just select project so you've not got any lines on the screen. 3 nice transitions, although they are quite crude when they're swapping over. So in order just to smooth these transitions out when they are swapping over, what we're going to do is we're going to use our keyframe editor right down here. So show or hide keyframe editor. This is our keyframe editor, and we're going to show hide our timeline, and then all we're going to do is select our 3 cameras, highlight the top one, press shift, select the bottom one, just close this heads up display, and this displays all the keyframes for all of our cameras. So I'm going to select the top camera and select the very bottom transition for the first camera and press shift and highlight them all. I'm going to select one of these plus buttons, go interpolation, and I'm going to make it linear. So this just straightens up all of my transitions and all of the camera movements. So if I open my timeline again, deselect my keyframe editor, go back to the start, and just watch the difference in the changes of the camera. And it is quite noticeable. As opposed to snapping the change, it's smoother. It's a much smoother change. It's not so snappy, the change is not so snappy, it's a much smoother change. And that's simply how you create various cameras and just smooth out the interpolation on the camera or the changes between each camera. So I hope this video has helped you out, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Catch you later.